want to criticize one another about inflation and inflation control. Food, sorry. Right. Thank you. Thank you. You can be similarly introspecting on the impact of COVID and the wars which are happening now.
No, ma'am.
Thank you. Food inflation, madam, similarly, food inflation was a modest 2.2 during 99-2004. 2004 to 9, it reached 6.5. 2009 to 14, it reached 11%. And 14 to 24, it's back to 5.3%. So the pattern is consistent. 25 years, you split it between UPA or non-NDA and NDA, you see inflation is better controlled under NDA regimes. Madam, Honorable Member Manish Tiwari, I can't see him here, but I would like to respond to him, was talking about fuel inflation. I quite appreciate his concern because this can affect poorer families as well. I want to place the data before. Under UPA 2, the fuel inflation was 8.9% compared to the 10 years between 2014 to 24, which is at 4.4%. But I just want to highlight the fact for Honorable Member Manish Tiwari's question. He talked about the LPG cylinder, and I'm sure this is something which most members will be interested in knowing about. Under the Congress, LPG cylinders were a privileged and scarce commodity. Before April 2014, nearly 45% of the Indian households didn't have access to clean cooking fuel. In contrast, madam, LPG coverage under the NDA has reached near saturation. Total domestic active LPG customers have more than doubled from 14.52 crore in April 2014 to 32.65 crores as of June 2024. Madam, an approximation, I'm not giving an exact number, it is expected, or approximation is, there are 33 crore households in this country, approximate, and 32.65 crore have got LPG cylinder connection. Near saturation in making sure gas cylinders reach every household. So I must credit the Ministry of Petroleum and Natural Gas for having taken this distribution of LPG to households. Since after Ujjwala came in, we have made sure that many of those families which gave up the extra cylinder on Honorable PM's nudge that he gave, saying, please, those who don't need the subsidy, give it up. Many people gave it up. But Ujjwala grew as much as also the others who don't need Ujjwala. So total saturation is 32.65 crores. And from among this number, 10.33 crore Ujjwala beneficiaries also are there. So this 32.65 crores includes Ujjwala 10.33 crores. Ujjwala 14.2 kg LPG cylinders, 14.2 kg, the weight of the cylinder, is given at an effective price of 503 rupees per cylinder. I want to highlight the fact that if we are to compare India with its immediate neighborhood, you will know that India's LPG cylinders is very reasonably priced for the Ujjwala consumers that I'm talking about. Ma'am, the neighboring countries, as of 1st November 2024, the prices are like this. Nepal, it is 1,209.21 rupees. And I'm saying it in INR, Indian rupees. Sri Lanka, it is 1,211.24 rupees. Pakistan, it is at 1,095.41 rupees. And for Ujjwala customers, it is in India 503 rupees only. And immediate question would be, what about those non-Ujjwala? Because it's an essential thing for a household. Effective price of non-Ujjwala consumers, and I'm talking about New Delhi, is 803 rupees. So I want a clear appreciation of the fact, appreciation not so much for appreciating, but for recognition of the fact that compared to the neighborhood, India's LPG prices, even for non-Ujjwala, is far lesser than what it is like in our neighborhood. Manish Tiwari, member at translation, but that was essentially for his particular question. Madam, there were concerns expressed also about unemployment being very high. Several members raised questions on it, and I highlight some of the facts. The All India annual unemployment rate has been declining according to the periodic labor force survey report. Beginning 2017-18, it's been falling from 6.0% in 17-18 to 3.2% in 23-24. Unemployment rate was 6% in 2017-18. Today it has come down to 3.2%. And this is accompanied by a rise in the labor force participation ratio and worker to population ratio figures as well. A very important factor is the gender component, madam. The female labor force participation rate has been on the rise for the past 6 years, from 24.5% in 2018-19 to 41.7% in 23-24, and we'll be glad to know that this is largely driven by rising participation of rural women into the labor force. So this is a very noteworthy transformation that we are seeing. I would like to put it before you, Honorable Chairperson. According to the latest payroll data of the EPFO, cumulative net addition of EPF subscribers, which very clearly shows the formal employment. So cumulative net addition of EPF subscribers touched 91.1 lakh in first half of this year, that is 24-25, which is nearly 29% higher than the cumulative net additions of 70.5 lakhs in the same period last year. So it's an important, and we are clearly talking about the net addition. It's not the numbers who have gone, we've ignored it or anything like that. We are talking about net addition. Nearly 2/3 of the new subscribers in the EPFO payroll have been from the 18 to 28 years band. So for all of us who rightly have concerns about the youth of India, I would like to show this figure that the net addition to the EPF subscriber numbers has 2/3 of them coming from those in the age group of 18 to 28. So the youth of India are coming on board and getting into EPF-related registers. Madam, there was also concern and a lot of discussion about the procedure not being followed in sanction of contingency fund advance. I think it was member N.K. Premachandranji who raised this point. I'd like to respond to him because I think he highlighted, I appreciate the fact that N.K. Premachandranji gets into a lot of granular details of the budget and also of the general financial rules. Here he quotes, or I quote, he said, "The procedure given in para 5 of Delegation of Financial Powers rule regarding laying statement by ministers for giving contingency fund advance is not followed." That was his concern. I'd like to remind member N.K. Premachandranji that the procedural issue which you raised about withdrawals of contingency fund an advance of 100 crores given to MNRE for the PM Surya Ghar. Am I right? Based on the request of the ministry, contingency fund advances are normally given to various ministries, and in this case, the contingency fund advance of 100 crore was sanctioned on 4th October 2024, at a time when the Parliament was not in session. This amount is being recouped, and that you see in the supplementary demand for grants, through the supplementary demand which we have placed now. So, Ministry of Finance does not normally permit consolidated fund advances when Parliament session is underway. In the instant case that he is referring to, Finance Ministry has not issued the sanction during the Parliament session. I would just like to mention it very clearly for Sri N.K. Premachandran's consideration. If at all drawals of CF advance has happened by any ministry, the minister concerned is required by rule to lay a paper in the House. So, and that's the extent procedure. Madam, similarly, I think it was one of the members, if I'm right, Lalji Vermaji, who had mentioned that this supplementary demand for grant is being presented within 1 month of the budget. I'm not sure if Lalji Vermaji is here. This is the first batch of supplementary demand for grants. And even as I opened my statement, I said the regular budget in this election year was presented in July. Now we are into December. We are several months away from July, not one. So that statement, unfortunately, doesn't seem to be correct, Madam. This has been reduced. The supplementary demand for grant, this one being the first one, I would like to definitely place on record that we have kept the supplementary demand for grants. Normally 3 are permitted. We've tried keeping it within 2 and never moving to the 3rd, except for 1 year when the 3rd also had to happen. So supplementary demand for grants are not too many, not too frequent, and doesn't happen for simple, small reasons. So I want to leave the data behind that this is the first one, and the amount, in fact, some of the honorable members, I'm very grateful, mentioned about it, that this time the supplementary demand amount itself is far lesser than last time, showing greater accuracy in the BE stage itself of budget making. So there is a greater absolute targeting of what is the budget estimate got to be, and there is not, therefore, much of a requirement to come with huge supplementary demands, and not too many of them as well. Meaning growth. I broadly spoke about the growth and growth-related figures earlier. But what are the specific steps that the government has taken to push and to sustain growth was one of the questions. As much as private sector investment slowdown and more investment on infrastructure have all been points on which a lot of members have raised their concerns. I'd like to broadly say that even at the beginning we said there has been considerable emphasis on capital expenditure. Repeated every year, our capital expenditure amounts are only growing, not in just actual numbers, in percentages as well. That this year we allocated 11.11 lakh crores for capital expenditure. If we understand that together with the amounts that we've given to the state, this year particularly, we have given 1.50 lakh crores to the states as interest-free 50-year loan for capital assistance. If effective capital expenditure of the union government is taken on board, and what is effective capital expenditure, madam? Includes